I remember the exact moment I lost her. It wasn't sudden, it wasn't dramatic, it was quiet, the kind of silence that settles into your bones and never quite leaves. The kind that grows louder with every passing year. Emma was 17. Her voice used to light up when she said, "Hi, Dad." That day, she didn't even look me in the eye. She stood at my doorstep, arms folded, jaw clenched. Her mother's words echoed from her mouth like a recording. "You've done enough damage. I'm going to college, and I don't want you in my life anymore." She was angry, and I couldn't blame her entirely. The divorce had torn everything apart, her childhood, her sense of safety, and us. Her mother and I had been at war for years, and somewhere between custody battles and child support arguments, I became the villain. I tried to speak, to explain, to apologize, but the look she gave me froze the words in my throat. It was the look you give a stranger, not a father, a stranger. "I'm done," she said, and turned away. I watched her walk down the stairs without turning back. That image stayed with me, even in my dreams. In the beginning, I told myself it was just a phase, that she needed space, a few months, maybe a year. She'd come around, she didn't. Her number changed, my emails went unanswered, letters were returned. On her 18th birthday, I mailed her a silver necklace, the one her grandmother had worn. It came back in a padded envelope, unopened, with a sticky note. "Return to sender." I kept the necklace in a drawer I never opened again. Life went on, as it tends to. I moved into a small apartment in the city. 2 rooms, dim lights, quiet neighbors. I got work fixing things, toilets, boilers, light fixtures. I read books I'd read before just to feel less alone. I watched the same movies every Christmas, and every year I wrote her a letter. Even though I knew she wouldn't read it, "Hi, Emma," I'd begin, "Happy birthday, sweetheart." I'd write in June, "I miss you, I hope you're safe, I love you always." I'd end every time. The first few years, I cried when I wrote them. By year 6, I just stared at the paper. By year 10, I started skipping holidays. But despite the silence, I never stopped hoping. Every time my phone buzzed, I wondered if it was her. Every knock at the door gave me pause. And sometimes, just sometimes, I would imagine what I'd say if she ever came back. Would I forgive her? Would I ask her why? Would I break down and sob like a fool? I don't know. Because for 10 long years, she didn't come back. People say you move on. You don't. You simply learn how to live with the empty spaces. You water plants. You fold laundry. You smile at strangers. But part of you stays frozen in that doorway, watching your daughter leave. I never hated her. I hated how easily I became forgettable. And then, one ordinary Thursday, I spent my last few dollars on a scratch-off ticket. I bought it because I was tired and hungry, and frankly, I didn't have much else to lose. That ticket would change everything. But before the money, before the fake smiles and forced hugs, before she came back into my life with a voice sweeter than memory, there was only this: a father, a broken man, and 10 years of silence. I didn't buy the ticket expecting to win. It was one of those gray October afternoons, cold, quiet, and hopeless in the way only late autumn can be. I'd just fixed a leaking faucet for a neighbor who paid me in leftovers. The coins in my pocket barely added up to a bus fare, let alone a meal. But there it was, glowing behind the scratched glass at the corner bodega. State jackpot, $27 million. I rolled my eyes. But something inside me, maybe desperation, maybe boredom, nudged me forward. I handed the guy a few crumpled bills and pointed. "1 ticket," I said. "Quick pick." He laughed, feeling lucky. "No," I replied honestly. I walked back to my apartment, balancing a dented can of soup and that flimsy piece of paper in my coat pocket. I almost forgot about it until I sat down alone at my kitchen table. Then I scratched it, 1 number. Then 2, then all of them. I froze. I checked again and again. The numbers weren't just similar, they matched. All of them. At first, I thought it was a misprint. I stared at that ticket for what felt like hours. My fingers shook. I didn't jump, didn't scream, didn't run out into the street like in the movies. I just sat there. What does a man who's lost everything do when life suddenly hands him a miracle? He doubts it. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I walked to the lottery office, still wearing my old coat, scuffed shoes, heart hammering in my chest like it knew something I didn't. The clerk scanned the ticket. Her face changed. "Sir," she said, almost whispering, "you're going to want to come with me." A whirlwind followed. Lawyers, tax forms, confidentiality clauses. I chose to stay anonymous. I didn't want my name in flashing headlines. I didn't want people calling, pretending to care. The irony, the one person I wanted to call me wouldn't, or so I thought. I bought a small lake house upstate. Quiet, secluded, surrounded by trees and stillness. I filled it with books, not people. The money gave me peace, not joy. Joy had a name, and she hadn't spoken it to me in 10 years. Still, I was alive. No more frozen dinners. No more overdue bills. I even started painting again, a hobby I'd abandoned after the divorce. I didn't tell anyone. No Facebook post, no old friends, just quiet comfort, but news spreads. Even when you whisper, someone listens. A local paper ran a story. One local resident wins $27 million jackpot, chooses to remain anonymous. They didn't name me. But people talk, and then, exactly 11 days after the story broke, my phone buzzed. A number I didn't recognize. A simple text, "Hey Dad, I know it's been a long time. I've been thinking about you. Would love to catch up." I stared at the screen. My heart wanted to believe, my head knew better. After 10 years of silence, she suddenly remembered I existed. And the timing, not even subtle. I didn't reply right away. I let the message sit there like a wound reopened. I thought about all the birthdays, holidays, and years she ignored me, the unopened letters, the necklace returned in a padded envelope. But I also remembered her laugh, the way she used to dance barefoot in the living room, the way she'd say, "Love you, Dad," before bed. Some part of me, the part that hadn't died from grief, still loved her, so I answered, "Sure, let's talk." What she didn't know was this: I wasn't the same man she left behind. And if she was here for the money, she was going to learn something about loss, the hard way. She looked exactly like her mother. The same way her lip curled slightly when she smiled. The same way she brushed her hair behind her ear before saying something she'd rehearsed. When Emma walked into that cafe, it was like watching a ghost, a memory brought back to life. "Dad," she said warmly, voice soft, too soft. "It's been so long." I stood slowly, 10 years. I said, pulling out her chair. She sat. "I've missed you." I nodded, but I didn't say it back. We talked. She told me about her job, underpaid, stressful. About student debt. About moving back to town recently. She talked as if we had spoken last week, not a decade ago. Her eyes flickered, scanning me, my clothes, my watch, my phone, searching for signs of wealth. Then she brought it up, casually. "So someone around here won the lottery, right? I saw it in the news." I sipped my coffee. "Yeah," I said, "someone did." She smiled. "Crazy, huh? I mean, can you imagine? Overnight, poof, everything changes." Her eyes didn't leave mine. I gave nothing away. In the weeks that followed, she started showing up more. She'd text at random hours, "Just thinking of you," or "Can I stop by?" Sometimes she brought cookies. Once, she even brought an old photo of us from her childhood. "I really want to rebuild what we had," she said one evening, sitting on my porch. I made mistakes. I know that now. I wanted to believe her, but the timing, the sudden sweetness, the way she never once apologized for the years she left me behind, it all felt hollow. Performed, then came the hints. "You know, I've been struggling a bit. My job barely covers rent. Or if I just had a little help, I could finally go back to school." Still, I said nothing. Because I wasn't looking for an apology. I was waiting to see if she'd ever ask about me, not my money. My health, my life, my loneliness, she never did. One Friday evening, I invited her over, not to the lake house. She never knew about that place. Instead, I used a modest rental nearby, basic furniture, faded wallpaper, a half-empty fridge. I wanted her to think I was still poor. She walked in, frowning slightly. "I wanted to give you something," I said. Her eyes lit up. "You don't have to, but thank you." I handed her a small envelope. She opened it slowly. Her expression shifted from hope to confusion to disbelief. Inside was no check, no cash, just a letter. "Emma, 10 years ago, you walked away without a word. I waited for days, for years, for birthdays and holidays and random Tuesdays. I waited with hope, with heartbreak, with forgiveness, and then, the very moment I became worth something to the world, you came back. Not for me, but for the version of me with money. I'm not angry, not anymore. I'm just done pretending. If you had come back for love, I would have given you everything. If you had asked how I survived, or what I needed, maybe things would have been different. But you didn't. You saw a dollar sign where your father used to be. So, I've chosen a different legacy. One that helps people who still know how to love without asking for something in return. I wish you peace. I hope you heal, but we're done here. Dad," she stared at the letter for a long time. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said finally, voice low. "I know," I said, "but you did." She didn't cry, not in front of me. She nodded, folded the letter, and left without saying goodbye. Just like before, that night, I drove back to the lake house. The wind whistled through the trees. I lit a fire, poured a drink, and stood on the porch, watching the still water. For the first time in 10 years, I didn't feel like I was waiting anymore. Epilogue: I donated most of the winnings. A children's hospital, a community library, scholarships for kids who still had their fathers or desperately needed one. I even left a trust for the daughter of a single mom who reminded me of myself. I kept enough to live comfortably, to paint, to read, to breathe. People ask if I ever forgave Emma. The truth, I did. But I didn't forget. Some silences are louder than words, and some goodbyes are exactly what we need, even if they come 10 years too late.